Hey guys, Fernando here, and welcome to an online multiplayer battle for Company of Heroes. This is another game replay that I'm showing. I'm going to turn Fog of War off real quick so you guys can see. I know a couple of you, at least one or two of you, said that you didn't like it when I did the game replays and then commentated over it, but I got some pretty nice feedback for it, and I also wanted to, the point of this video is to mainly show some strategies you can do with the Americans, because the last video, let's actually put this on play, is that the last video, I basically did a German strategy where I did that heavy infantry rush, heavy infantry build tactic, and then with these stews in combination, which, as you guys saw, did massive damage against infantry. Now I'm going to go with an infantry rush build for the Americans, which I'm going to start off telling you guys about right now. And I like doing the replays because it lets me concentrate on speaking instead of playing at the same time. So, how I'm going to start this infantry rush build is I'm going to get one engineer in the headquarters, and then you want to get this first engineer that you start out with building a barracks immediately. As I said before, guys, you don't need to get heavy weapon support centers as the allies. It's unneeded, and it's just excess fuel that doesn't need to be happened. So you're going to build this barracks as close to your border as you can so you can save time, because I know it doesn't look like much, but it can actually save a lot of time. And now your second engineer you're going to pump out, you're going to send to the right side, and you're going to start capping all these positions over here, because if you're against a Workmonk player especially, a Wehrmonk player especially, excuse me, you will actually find that they will not push very hard in there on this side, and they'll push mainly to the left, which my opponent is a Panzer Elite opponent, so I was actually worried about using this infantry strategy, because it's more effective against the Wehrmonk than the Panzer Elite, but you guys will see later how it works out. So then, as soon as this barracks is done being created, I'm going to start, you need to pump out your first infantrymen, first rifleman, had a brain fart on what the name of that was, and then the second engineer squad that you use to construct that barracks, you're going to cap this point, and then I'm going to cap the munitions point, and then the fuel point, and then I'm actually going to leave the victory points until later. You really want to ignore these victory points early game. They might be nice to get those early points, but what you really need is the munitions, the fuel, and the manpower. So I'm going to cap that. You can see I'm going to pump out my first rifleman. I'm going to put a rally respawn point right here so I don't have to worry about them having to move them up, and then you can see with this engineer squad, I'm mainly just pushing them up on the right side. My opponent was a low-level opponent, so I don't know how this would play out against a very high-level opponent. It may not work, but for this one, you'll see what happens. He's going to pump out 2 Panzer Grenadiers, and he's got this Kettengrad running up to start cap points. I'm guessing he's bombing that right now. No, he's capping it. So you can see my rifleman's right here, and I see these 2 Panzer Grenadiers. One is upgraded, and I'm like, crap, I can't take this. So I'm going to keep my men right here for the time being and not put them in cover, which wasn't very smart on my part. You should always put your men in cover if you can. You can see the green shield means that they're in heavy cover and they'll be sustained a lot longer. I'm going to do it now, but it's kind of a little too late. And then the yellow cover is light cover. So I'm going to have to retreat in a few minutes because it's better to lose a couple men and then have to retreat than to actually lose the whole squad, because you're just giving away free XP. But despite that, I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to build this engineer. While that's happening, you can see my rifleman is still pumping out. You got to keep pumping out riflemen as much as you can, because you just keep that stream of riflemen up to get some heavy support, some heavy infantry tactics in there, because the Americans are so good and aggressive early game. I know many opponents will try to hunker down with the Americans, but that's not what you should do. The Americans are the most aggressive faction in the game, early game, and what you need to do is you need to take advantage of that with the riflemen, and you just need to use them to capture so much ground and take advantage of their fast cap rate. So I'm going to keep pumping out these riflemen, and then as soon as I get 60 fuel, I'm going to save up and get the BAR, which the BAR will make these guys devastating against light vehicles and infantry, which gives you the perfect combination for any kind of support. So, as you guys can see, I pumped out a second rifleman and pushed those men back. I've got this rifleman sitting right here now, and they're now being recruited, retrained. I've got more riflemen being pumped up as we speak. I pushed my right side engineers up to the flank, and they are now capping these sides. My opponent is going to start capping left sides with a Kettengrad, but he's not going to make any real pushes, as I said. You can see what I said was completely correct. They're just going to make a push on the right. Now, you want to be aggressive with the Americans, as I said, but you cannot overreach. So if you guys know what I mean by that, you cannot do what I just did there and try to capture this munitions point with these 2 men right here. You can't overreach unless you have the men for it. That's what Company of Heroes is about. So now I've got a second squad of troops, and we're going to sit here for a minute. I saw these 2 units of Panzer Elite men going over, so I'm actually going to rush over here. I'm going to send this unit of 6 men. You can see I've got another rifleman squad coming up, and we're going to kind of double team them here. I'm going to leave this unit of 4 to be a vanguard against these Panzer Grenadiers. He's going to attack my engineers because I tried to use him to start capturing the victory points, and he's going to kill both of them, I believe. Yep, there they go. But my riflemen, I'm going to get them very close in center, and actually units will actually lose health quicker if you are very close to them. So you guys can see right here that I've got these guys basically right up in their faces, and I'm just going to keep running them forward at these guys, and we're just going to keep getting in their faces, and soon these guys are going to be completely demolished. This Kettengrid has capped a few points on the sides, but I'm not too worried about that. You can see I've got my engineers still capping right side points. My opponent is not doing anything on the right. He's mainly on my right. He's mainly focusing on the left side. He's got a Panzer Grenadier squad moving up, which I didn't account for because I moved these riflemen away. And he's going to go for this victory point because I actually haven't captured any of the victory points yet. You can see I'm pushing my engineer up with my riflemen over here, and now I have a victory point. So we've got that captured. I've got some riflemen back here, which I'm going to replenish soon, but you can see now I'm recruiting BARs because I basically waited on replenishing these troops because that BAR is so important early game, because the BAR not only does damage to infantry, it does damage to vehicles as well, especially the scout cars, which the Panzer League can pump out very early game, and also the armored cars, and the half tracks, which the Wehrmacht can punch out really quickly. So you definitely got to stay on that. So you can see I took those Panzer League troops out. My opponent, as I said, he's pumping out a scout car, and very luckily you guys will see I'm about to get my BARs, and you'll see the havoc it's going to cause on them. I see that scout car, and I'm going to keep these units capping this victory point for now. And then I know this scout car, you can see I can actually do small arms damage to it. Because scout cars are very lightly armored, so do not fear against the scout cars, your men can take it out. And now with the addition of my BARs, they're going to do heavy damage to it. So now I've got this victory point, and while all this is happening, I've still got my engineers going on the right side, capping points. And then these riflemen are going to stay here in heavy cover, and you can see their health, which is that little blue bar, that determines when men are going to start dying, is very, very slowly going down, not very much. And now I've got my second rifleman squad up to add support. I'm going to right-click on this scout car here, we're going to focus fire. They're going to throw an incendiary grenade at me, and I'm actually going to have this unit fall back so they don't get killed by it. The incendiary grenade will not do very initial damage, but if you go into it, like I just did right there, you can see their health is starting to go down. So you got to be careful about that. And then company commander, I went with Rangers. Excuse me guys, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, sorry about that guys, I had to deal with a little bit of family problem there. Okay, so where was I? So I've got my infantry squads pushing up, and they're getting some pretty good caps here. I've got one unit, this infantry squad, covering against any Panzer Elite pushes, while this one captures the munitions point. Now this engineer squad is currently going to go after these munition points. As you guys can see, I have total map control. I haven't vied for these neutral positions, but I didn't have to. You guys can see that my infantry squad right here has got total domination of this map. My infantry rush tactic has worked. He's so focused on building anti-infantry, but you can see he's just pumping out Panzer Grenadiers at the moment. Excuse me. He's got the logistics command now, so he's planning on trying to pump out some more anti-infantry out of that logistics company. So over here, this is going to be a pretty tight skirmish here. We've got two of my men in cover. Not all of them are going to be able to fire. You can see right there we're going to hit this guy. I'm going to use the special ability on the BARs, which actually allows me to pin any squad. It basically suppresses them. And you can see it's going to do some serious damage to them. I'm actually going to run forward here and try to go after this Panzer Elite, and he's going to run back. And then over here I'm going to overreach a bit. You can see that his men are in heavy cover, and mine are not. So you can see the difference between how much damage mine receive, and they're going to get... I'm going to have to force them to fall back. And now this squad I'm going to keep on the side because I don't want to overreach anymore. And while all this is happening, I've still got riflemen capping the right flank and forcing their way around. While this squad is just holding down this men. And then I've got that squad now, which now I'm going to use this infantry squad in a minute to actually pull over here and help defend. I think I'm going to pull back this rifleman squad as well, because they're kind of getting pounded. You can see I've only got 4 men left. I tried to hold it out a bit longer, but I'm going to end up falling them back. So now you can see I've got all 3 victory points. I've got total map control. The entire front is mine. My opponent only has 2 munitions points, and he hasn't even tried to go for these 3 points. I'm guessing either because he's too focused on this point or something else. Anyway, so he's going to try to push up again and cap this victory point.
Taking one of our points. We hold the initiative. At this rate, we'll be taking Berlin by Christmas.
So he's going to try to make this victory point capture, but you can see because of my amount of riflemen, I've got 2 right there. I've still got 3 back here. I'm saving up for a ranger because I'm actually, as soon as I get 2 company commander, I can get rangers now, which is always very effective. As soon as you get riflemen, if you really want to go and do very well against these guys, I highly suggest if you're using a heavy infantry build, go with infantry tactics, which obviously makes sense because you can get those rangers and they automatically come equipped with 2 bazookas. Right there, they have bazookas and they are perfect against anti-tank. I've used them to take out tigers at any time. So you always want to get those second and 1v1s. And as you guys can see, I'm completely surviving without any heavy weapon support center. I'm not using mortars, no machine gun nests, no snipers, nothing. I've just got pure plain infantry with BARs, and it's perfectly effective against this guy's. And now over here, my opponent is he's not gonna rage quit, he's just gonna forfeit. So he's gonna forfeit and he's gonna leave, and that's gonna be GG. Hope you guys enjoyed this commentary for Company of Heroes. I had a brain fart again there, and I'll see you guys again later.